guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video. And today I'm going to be telling you guys about books that I felt like read like melted chocolate. I'm talking about some books that have, in my opinion, some of the best writing that I've ever read. All right. I'm a sucker for purple prose. I'm a sucker for really flowery writing, unless you just go too far and it's like, okay, no, girl, I came here to read. I didn't come here to be lost in a field of flowers. You know what I mean? I'm talking about writing that just makes you feel like you're floating, right? The last piece of the puzzle that will really get you into this book. I have a stack of books that I want to talk to y'all about today. And before we actually start, I would really appreciate it if you guys would look down in the description box for all the links there that I have for you guys pertaining to stuff going on in the world right now. Those links will be down there for you guys to interact with and to share. And then down in the comment section, let me know whether or not you guys really like purple prose, flowery writing, pretty writing, whether you like any of these books that I'm going to be talking about today, what y'all's recommendations for pretty writing would be, the works, right? So with that being said, let's just get right on into it. Okay, so the first book that I personally felt read like melted chocolate, all right, is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. All right, I think I even said that in my Goodreads review for it. Like, this book fully reads like melted milk chocolate. The writing in here is purple prose, I would say. It's gothic. It's got that little gothic charm. It feels like a fairy tale. It's so whimsical. It flows like you wouldn't believe. It genuinely made me feel like I was just floating down a river. The writing in here is so dreamy. It's gorgeous. It honestly feels too delicious not to read. Next, while this did read like melted chocolate, it almost has, for an opposite reason, it's Fever House by Rosson. And the reason why I say it's for the opposite reason is while I was so enraptured by this writing, all right, it just has such sick and gnarly imagery. You know that feeling of when you like wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, right? And you look into like the corner of your bedroom that like the moonlight or the street lights don't reach, so it's kind of just like a pool of blackness, a pool of void, and you look deep into it and you like you kind of psych yourself out a little bit because you're like, okay, is something there? You feel almost like that weird sense of dread, or almost that sense of like the neck, like the hairs on the back of your neck start standing up because you feel like somebody's watching you. That's what this book gives. All right, that's what the writing of this book feels like. It's so mesmerizing that it just pulls you almost into this overwhelming sense of just dread. All right, the writing in here is gorgeous. Like I said, it's got that really sick and twisted imagery that is just so gross, you know what I mean? And almost uncanny to behold, but it's so fascinating that you just can't look away. Next, a book that I honestly cannot stop recommending to people. I need more people, okay, to read this book. Thank you and good night. The next book that genuinely felt as if I had submerged myself into a bath of just melted chocolate, all right, is I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jamison Shea. This book is about deities and like supernatural powers and everything of the sort, and the writing itself most definitely hammers that home. This book genuinely felt like a twisted sermon the entire way through, okay? And you know, you have the main character who's given these godly powers, and she's growing more and more accustomed to this and growing more and more accustomed to the mindset of having such power over people. And she's in a way convinced, she's like, oh yeah, no, I am godly. I am a deity. And we're in her point of view the entire time. We're in her head the entire time, right? So because of that, it feels like she is talking to us, preaching to us in a way, you know what I mean? Like, the writing in here made me feel like I was being cajoled to by a placating and condescending God in a way, you know what I mean? In the best way possible, all right? Something of a sort like, oh, you don't want to worship me? That's okay. We'll get there. It's beautiful. All right, the way that this book is written, oh my gosh, I love it. There's a reason why this is one of my favorite books. It's so dark and just delicious to read. Next, the next book that genuinely was enchanting to read, all right, by any means of the word, is The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. The first thing that I want to say about this book, okay, for whatever reason, I can't quite explain it, okay, this feels like it should be read while listening to House in Nebraska by Ethel Cain. Don't know why. Can't tell you why, don't ask. Like Fever House, I have to say that the imagery in here is guttural and just disturbing, yet at the same time, fascinating and oddly lovely. This book is filled with complex and purple metaphors, all right, I'm not going to lie. At some points in here, I was like, what? What did we just say? You know, at times I'd have to like sit there for maybe 5 minutes to unpack a metaphor, because it's like, what are we, what dots are we connecting? With all of that to say, that do I understand everything that happened in this book? No. Not in the slightest, but do I love it? Indeed. Okay, of course. All right, biblically. Okay, just this book is very short, it's very quick to the point. It kind of just sucker punches you and then leaves. It's definitely a very sucker punch type of writing that leaves you in just a very confused mess on the floor. And you think to yourself, what the hell happened? The next book that I want to recommend to y'all who like beautiful writing, all right, is Marina by Ruiz Zafón. This is gothic, all right, so you already know it's got that gorgeous gothic velvety feeling, all right, and it honestly gives me an old-timey vibe, all right, even though this is like set in the 70s, all right, it made me honestly feel like not only the story, obviously the story, but the writing itself packed it up and put a little facade over it that honestly made me feel as if I was like in a silent or old Hollywood movie with like the black and white filter. The energy of this book, oddly enough, reminds me of like those playlists that you can study to where it's like oldies playing in another room while your mother cuts lemons and your father yells at her about the 2008 housing crisis. You know what I mean? This book just feels old-timey. And I don't understand why. The gothic touch definitely helps in that aspect. There's just a lot of dark and gothic imagery that honestly, when I'm thinking of gothic imagery, when I talk about this book, I'm thinking like gargoyles and like spires, shit like that. The last book that I want to recommend to the pretty writing girlies, all right, is A Curse of Roses by Pinguicha. All right, purple prose. Purple prose to the max, but gorgeous. Chef's kiss to the sky. My favorite thing about this book, honestly, is its tendency towards alliteration. I'm an alliteration bitch, all right? I love alliteration. Alan picked an amazing apple. Y'all better go, A's. All right? Billy bonked a ball across the beach. Girl, I love it. It's the rhythm of it, okay? And because this book has so much alliteration, at least that I remember, okay? This book is just so rhythmic, and it takes you on a very smooth ride because you get sucked into the book because of the rhythmic writing. I don't really know what else to say other than this book is just gorgeous. The story is gorgeous, and it's garnished even more so by the beautiful writing and the rhythm of it as well. So you guys, those were all the books that I think you should read if you really like pretty writing, okay? I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope that you guys will check these recommendations out, because even if you don't like flowery writing or pretty writing, even if that genuinely gets on your nerves and if that's like a reason that you DNF a book, which girl, I'm right there with you. But to be honest, I think that all of these books have something, be it the plot or the story or the character or the setting, to keep you engaged to the point where you can look past the writing if that's just not your thing, which girl, I get you. But nevertheless, you guys, I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope that you guys will continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope that you guys are staying safe. And lastly, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.